Today on Henry's Film Corner, David Fincher and I will discuss the film The Assassination of Richard Nixon. We will find out what my electrician thinks of the new Wes Anderson film, and we will celebrate one of the greatest movies ever made. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Hello folks, my name is Henry Rollins and welcome to Henry's Film Corner. Here's the bottom line. Everyone hates a critic, but everyone is a critic, so why not me? I'm not an expert on film, I'm not a columnist, I'm just a guy who likes a good movie. And I'm sick and tired of walking out of the theater after being CGI'd and Ben Affleck'd to death. So if you want to find out about some films you really should see, this is the show for you. Here's what's pissing me off for December. It's what happened in November. There was a presidential election, and I didn't get the result I wanted. I was watching the election turn over like a dead whale in an oil-polluted sea, watching all the states just go, wow, I hate gays and I love God to the exclusion of all reason. I'm gonna go with this guy from Texas who's really from New England. And for me, it was like watching a Sylvester Stallone marathon while being duct taped to a folding chair held in some kind of gulag in the Midwest, over the top for 3 days at a time. Being zeroed in on that one scene while Sylvester Stallone does his over-the-top move where he beats the big biker trucker guy and wins the love of his estranged son. That's the kind of hell we'll be living in for the next 4 years. It's going to be a lot of American boy soldier coming home in steaming buckets and a lot of mamas in the Midwest falling over in tears. So I'm trying to look for a silver lining in this Dick Cheney-shaped cloud of hate. And where's the upshot? Perhaps it'll piss off so many Americans that we'll get great rock and roll, we'll get great movies, great art, and some blistering documentaries that do nothing more than tell the truth. He might just be the irritant that gives birth to the next great cinematic pearl. Thank you. Today our first guest is director David Fincher, directed such films as Seven, Fight Club, Panic Room. Thanks for showing up on my show, man.
Thanks for having me.
We're all pretty blown away by your presence.
Yikes.
I love the way your films look. There's such an amazing blue-green to Fight Club. All that fluorescent lighting. It just shoots you through this tube. It's just so like... And then by the end of the movie, you're just kind of like worn out. I love it. And I just want to talk about, how where even the lighting achieves this momentum.
Well, I mean, we were trying to keep it pretty realistic, but we're trying to kind of make things dark and make things a little bit more, make it seem, in that movie especially, make it seem like it's sort of a counterculture or an underground kind of movement, and we didn't want it to feel too lit.
If I like a film, I watch scenes over and over again, and I'm just very aware of just how a set is dressed, and I see so much attention to detail in your work, and I just wanted to know how you achieve that.
I think my biggest responsibility is to present people who are playing dress up with a world that will make them feel like that's, I want an actor to walk on a set and have the dirt in the corners be the right kind of dirt. And when they open a drawer, I want them to see, their address book and their magnifying glass and their, book of matches. For me, it's not initially about the performance. I'm not the kind of director who can, help an actor in that way. My job is to push it all there, get it there, and then record something, and then it's in the hands of the people who people go to movies to see. It's the faces.
As a film fan, I'm very aware of the spread of tension throughout a film, and in my opinion, your films just have this beautiful flow to them. You got a thing going on in these movies that's really intense.
Obviously in the suspense movie, the big game that you're playing is there are times when you want the audience anticipating, and so the rule of thumb is take as much time with that as you can. And then there are the times when you want to surprise them, and the rule of thumb after that is you want to go as quickly as you can. Part of the Pavlovian response of an audience to a movie is that you're trying to throw them off, trying to get them to lean forward in their seats, and then you want to scare them and push them back, and then release that tension and let them laugh, and then get them into a chase.
It seems to me these days you get really good-looking movies that just don't have that visceral punch. I remember being a teenager, walking out of Apocalypse Now, pretty devastated. Smoke coming out of our ears, just what did we just see? What have we just been put through?
Yeah.
And it really was a beating you took.
But I love movies like that.
Absolutely.
I think movies should inflict themselves on the audience.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm so tired of this whole idea of it just being entertainment or dessert. You know, movies are a commodity now, much more so than they were back then. The time those movies are made, you know, Kinney Shoes owned Warner Brothers. I mean, the people who were running the studios were like, well, we don't know, but maybe this guy knows, maybe this guy knows. And so they were trying a lot of things. And now movie studios, I think, have a pretty good idea of what works. They don't want the audience to be uncomfortable. They want to be able to market something that the audience will understand and the audience will get their $8 worth. Audiences, in general, don't like to be made uncomfortable. It makes them uncomfortable to be uncomfortable.
I wanted to ask you, I think a lot of people are always interested what a director watches. What do you like to see when you throw down your $9.50 and go to a movie?
I'm a total whore for computer animation. I love what Pixar does. Visual storytelling that's not encumbered by, you know, compromise. Filmmaking at its highest, I think, right now. But the movies that I watch over and over and over again are Chinatown and Godfather. And
I can go through the Godfather cycle about once a year with no problem and still enjoy them.
Gotta do it.
Yeah.
You gotta do it.
Absolutely.
Gotta pray to the altar.
And the film that David and I are going to review today is called The Assassination of Richard Nixon.
It says here that you're currently employed as an office furniture salesman?
Yes, that's correct. You want to know who the greatest salesman in the world is? That man right there. He sold the whole country on himself twice.
The Assassination of Richard Nixon is the debut film from Niels Mueller and stars Sean Penn in the true story of the man who plotted an abortive attempt on the life of our 37th president. Penn plays Sam Bick, a 44-year-old man desperately looking for something to believe in. Separated from his wife Marie, played by Naomi Watts,
I just want you to know that I'm not seeing anyone.
Are you spying on me?
Bick struggles to hold on to yet another job for which he is fundamentally unfit.
Sam, it's a job.
See, this is what I mean. A man doesn't give up his rights at a job. A man doesn't give up his rights anywhere, and you of all people should know that.
Holding on to the hope of what he still believes is the achievable American dream, Bick begins to break down when a series of ill-fated events test the very limits of his sanity.
Everything okay at work?
Everything okay at home?
For Bick, Richard Nixon becomes the embodiment of everything that is wrong in the world. Bick decides the only way to reclaim his insignificant life is to carry out a grand, historic gesture that will make his presence felt.
Somebody has to resist.
While this film marks the first reunion of Sean Penn and Naomi Watts since their celebrated performance together in 21 Grams, be warned, this is by no means a love story. This is a dark character study, and Sean Penn is up to the task.
You just wait and see.
David, did you like the movie?
I did. Yeah, I really did. I like these kinds of movies. You don't see them very often. It's very hard to make dramas in Hollywood, and this is fundamentally a drama. And, you know, it's a drama about a real downward spiral. I think it's good to make these kinds of movies, and I think it's nice to see that it got made. I mean, it took a lot of people, a lot of executive producers with a lot of clout to get it done, but, you know, it's a wonderful cast, and it's a really well-made movie, and, you know, people should see it.
Why do you think it took someone as heavy-duty as Leonardo DiCaprio? I mean, it seems like a bit of overkill when you see the people who believed in this movie, surrounded it, and had to apparently go pretty hard against the wall to get this thing made.
This is tough stuff. There's a lot of humanity, but not a lot of humor in this movie. It's pretty much about a single descent, and the movie is beautifully evocative of the 70s. You know, I don't think since Virgin Suicides I've seen a movie that really kind of caught the 70s in a legitimate way.
Sean Penn, star of the film, I think he's better than ever. There's so much he's giving just with his face, just with his eyes. In this film, you watch this man almost like an onion just being peeled off. He's humiliated. You know, when you see these horrible scenes of him just sitting on the hood of his car waiting for his estranged wife to come home.
Watching the kiss, which I thought was really a wonderfully understated scene where he watches her get kissed by the other man. There are not a lot of actors who choose to degrade themselves that way, and yeah, he's wonderful.
I'm sure you saw Sean Penn films before you actually met the guy, because he goes so far back.
Yeah.
How have you seen the guy grow and refine himself over the years?
You know, there are different kinds of actors. You know, there are some actors that at a reasonable distance you see what it is that they're doing. And there are some actors that if you're just behind the camera and you're watching them and you don't see it, and you're kind of like, and it freaks you out, and you kind of look at it and go, well, is enough happening? Are there enough changes? Are there enough colorings or shadings? And then you see it in dailies and it's that big, and you go, wow, he's doing so much. You know, Morgan Freeman is one of those guys that you worry the first 2 days of shooting. You're just like, you know, maybe is he doing anything? And then when you see it, you just go, oh my God, he's doing everything. And I lump, Sean into that kind of category. He's deceptive. It's sneaky.
And I'm a fan. I just keep watching him as the years go on, and he's able to put more of himself into it. Like the acting in Mystic River to me was just pulverizing.
Yeah.
Where 15 years before, could he have done that? I don't know, but he seems to just always be reaching for the next thing, where I think a lot of actors I have found, they hit a certain thing, they're comfortable being that guy, and they stop. And I'm not going to name any names, but you go, oh, you're doing that thing again? Why?
Yeah.
Where a guy like Sean Penn is always like, just pulling himself towards the next thing, and I admire that, and it makes me want to go see him in the next film and the next film.
He's a guy who's coming into his own.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the other thing I wanted to point out, everybody in this movie is really great. You know, Nick Searcy and Don Cheadle. It's good all around. There's great faces in this movie, and every little person in it is nicely done. It's a great first movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a great first movie. It helps having such a kick-ass cast. I mean, these are such strong actors.
That's more than half the job.
Yeah. I mean, to me, Naomi Watts can really do no wrong.
You gotta get a script, though. You gotta get a great script in order to get a cast like
Absolutely.
that. I mean, these are not people, none of the people in this movie are people who are gonna whore themselves out, or they're certainly not gonna all whore themselves out at the same time. You know, to put a cast together like this is a kind of alchemy, and you have to have a magnet at the center of it. I mean, more power to, movies like Assassination of Richard Nixon, because we do need this stuff. We need people to be making these kinds of movies.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you would recommend this movie to people?
Yeah, absolutely. See the movie. It's a dark movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a great one.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's really good.
Well, thanks for being a guest on the show, David. Thank you very much,
I think
man.
it's great what you're doing, man.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I look forward to more of it.
Cool. Next up on Typecast, real firemen talk about the film Ladder 49.
Probationary firefighter Jack Morrison reporting, sir.
How you feeling, kid?
Watching the Ladder 49, I thought it was great. I thought it was right on the money, very realistic. Hey! Right now!
The biggest thing that got my attention was to see another department, how they focused their firefighting and some of the strategy and tactics that they used.
Hey, Jack, you can't have a baby without a shower.
They wouldn't be bucking in here. We can't do that. It's against our policy. You don't laugh, you don't scratch. That's one of the only things I didn't like about the film.
So you guys usually pick up girls in the supermarket?
Yeah, she's beautiful.
Usually I just throw them over my shoulder and carry them down a ladder.
They know we're honest people. They know we're hardworking. So why wouldn't you go after someone like that?
It's sort of a Tarzan Jane thing.
If there's a hot girl, then I'll talk to her. And if she's looking at my badge, and that's going to make the difference, then...
I think they're more attracted to the uniform. It must be the uniform.
It's the red suspenders. Women love the red suspenders.
Maybe it's time for a change of scenery.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Looking at that part, it almost looked as if John Travolta wanted Joaquin Phoenix. Hey, do you want to quit? And I would never consider quitting. Couldn't see it. I could see retiring, but to quit, not a chance, not for me.
Look, you've been through a lot. What can I say? I mean, you lost your best friend. You've been through some bad fires.
Would you quit? Would
No.
you think of quitting?
No.
Never.
Firefighter Jack Morrison.
Thank you.
It's nice to see someone that would go to that lengths to say thank you. I mean, and we get that every day, but I don't think we do it for the thank yous. We do it because we love the job.
I look at that And he was almost shy to go up there and accept this reward. You notice?
Yeah.
And most firemen are that way. They don't want to get the recognition by an award or by, you know, being considered the hero. All they would like is just a simple, hey, good job, guys.
Good job.
And now, a reason to rejoice. Recently released is the 40th anniversary edition of the film Dr. Strangelove, starring the amazing Peter Sellers.
Dr. Strangelove. Or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and
Love the Bomb.
Arguably one of the greatest films ever, easily one of the best comedies of all time. If you don't like Dr. Strangelove, you got something wrong with you. Dr. Strangelove, directed by the amazing Stanley Kubrick, was released at the beginning of 1964 when America and Russia were at arguably the peak of the Cold War, when people in America really thought they could be blown up by the Russians. And the film is able to have quite an insight into the utter insanity of mutually assured destruction by approaching it through comedy.
It is designed to explode if any attempt is ever made to untrigger it.
Automatically? It's an obvious commie trick, Mr. President. We're wasting valuable time. Look at the big one. They're getting ready to clobber us.
The film basically depicts a very psychotic base commander played by Sterling Hayden, Jack T. Ripper.
I can no longer sit back and allow communist infiltration to sap and impurify all of our precious bodily fluids.
Jack T. Ripper, wanting to annihilate communism, calls a wing attack on Russia. The planes going there are able to be called back, except for one.
Well, boys, I reckon this is it. Nuclear combat toe-to-toe with the Ruskies.
Peter Sellers plays the President of the United States of America, Group Captain Lionel T. Mandrake, and he also plays Dr. Strangelove, the wheelchair-bound psychotic German Cold War scientist spook.
Mr. President, the technology required is easily within the means of even the smallest nuclear power.
There's some amazing performances in this film. If you watch George C. Scott, who's Buck Turgidson, a general, who's completely over the top.
I'm not saying we wouldn't get our hair mussed, but I do say no more than 10 to 20 million killed, tops, depending on the breaks.
40 years on, Dr. Strangelove has not lost one knot of speed and one bit of relevance.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
It has so many parallels to what's happening now in this country, where you have the people at the top are a little bit psychotic, and you realize how delicate the balance between peace and safety and total danger, war, and annihilation really is. The film was unimpeachable, and I have never met anyone who didn't think it was just utterly spectacular. So please, at your earliest convenience, go check out the 40th anniversary edition of Dr. Strangelove. The sound has been remixed to 5:1, the picture is excellent, and the second DVD with the documentaries and the interviews is really worth your while. Also, some of the greatest films I've ever seen were not ones I discovered on my own. They were ones that were recommended to me by people who took the time to say, I think you'd like this. So if you know of any great films, or if you've walked out of the theater recently and you're really pissed off about it, let me know, unless I was in the film. You can find me by going to ifctv.com and look for my little section there. My next guest is not a celebrity. He works for a living. He's my electrician. His name is Frankie. Frankie, thanks for showing up to the show.
Nice, good to see you.
Right on. So I want to talk to you about movies. You like a good movie?
I love a good movie.
How often do you go to the movies, would you say?
Not very often.
And why is that?
I really see a difference between movies that are made from, say, the early 80s and before, and then the movies that are made after that fact. It's almost as if, you know, the studios just go for this basic formula that they feel that they can churn out all the time. You know, I think people will go and see movies no matter what the studios put out.
That's my main complaint with a lot of big budget movies. You see these people flooding the theater to watch something that hits as hard as a greeting card.
In the 60s where I grew up when I was a little kid, my mum generally brought me up with a lot of old American movies, you know, a lot of film noir and stuff like that. Like John Huston movies to Hitchcock movies. you know?
That's the good stuff.
I really was brought up watching those kind of movies.
And the film Frankie and I are going to review today is The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou.
In 10 days, I'm going to set out to find the shark that ate my friend and destroy it.
What would be the scientific purpose of killing it?
Revenge.
This is the latest installment from writer-director Wes Anderson, who's carved his own brand of offbeat comedy with films like Bottle Rocket, Rushmore, and The Royal Tenenbaums. This film centers around world-renowned oceanographer and eccentric Steve Zissou, played by Bill Murray, who's embarking on a midlife crisis. A string of unsuccessful documentaries, a failing marriage, and the loss of his best friend has driven Steve Zissou to the edge.
I think the crew might be ready to mutiny. Oh, man, what a drag.
With one last gasp before hitting rock bottom, Zissou and his crew set out on what could be their final journey as they attempt to find and capture the elusive jaguar shark that took his friend's life. They are joined on their voyage by a young airline co-pilot who may or may not be Zissou's son, played by Owen Wilson.
Oh, Siri, this is probably my son, Ned. We just met. How delightful.
Team Zissou faces overwhelming complications, including pirates, kidnapping, and bankruptcy. The Life Aquatic will certainly not disappoint Wes Anderson fans who have come to expect a collaboration of quirky characters with quotable lines. All right, you saw the film? I saw the film.
I saw the film.
I want to know what you think about it.
I do like the way the movie was filmed. That's the one thing I really like about it. I love, you know, the graininess of all the shots and all that kind of stuff. I think it had a great list of, a great cast, you know, for the movie. Cate Blanchett, I like that character. The thing I didn't like about the movie was that they could have edited the movie in a much better fashion to make it move a little more.
Yeah.
I think that the funny things about the movie were taken away by the story kind of like drifting off to, you know, it's drifting off towards it at the end. I felt that the last quarter of the movie almost shouldn't have been there.
This is fun because I totally disagree. I'm a huge fan of Wes Anderson. There is this kind of quirky space that he finds in all of his films. There's an innocence to his movies that keeps me refreshed.
I do see it as, the one thing I do see about that movie, it's the kind of movie that you will watch again maybe 3 or 4 times and then get more things out of it. It's like Monty Python movies. You might not really get it at first.
For me, all that stuff is gospel. I was raised with him,
yeah,
so
absolutely. I mean,
it's about as good as it gets.
I live for that, yeah.
Okay, bottom line, would you recommend Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou?
I would give it a look on DVD, so wait till it comes out on DVD.
Fair enough. It's not my opinion. I'm a Wes Anderson fan. I think if someone else is a fan of The Royal Tenenbaums or Bottle Rocket or Rushmore, they're going to love this film. You've been a very good guest. You took a lot of time in your critiques, and they're all very valid and very well thought out, and for that, I thank you.
Thanks for having me on, Henry. It's a pleasure.
Right on, man. And now, it's time for What to Watch with that furious, lacerating creature, Heidi.
When your boyfriend's being a total ass, here's 5 movies you must see. Is your boyfriend a total loser? Enjoy watching John Cusack get dumped 5 times in High Fidelity.
If you really wanted to mess me up, you should have got to me earlier!
Think you've got it, Tef? Here are 3 stories you won't forget from Rebecca Miller's Personal Velocity.
I just thought I would lend you a hand. You know, the place really looked like it needed a scrub, so I just...
Don't bother trying to show you're better than me. I mean, shit, look at me.
Some men don't know what's best for them. I understand Glenn's pain. Check out Fatal Attraction. Tired of being ignored? Perhaps it's time to take some action. And if you need inspiration, rent I Shot Andy Warhol. You know it's a true story.
Valerie? Valerie, no, don't, Valerie, no!
Let's face it, most men are dogs. So get inside the head of a true commitment phobe with the late Ted Demmy's Beautiful Girls.
We need models.
Models? What do you mean?
Models. We need models. They're beautiful, they're rich, they travel a lot, so you don't have to spend that much time with them. Those fuckers that date models, they got it made. My next girlfriend's gonna be a 6-foot-tall model. Definitely. Big one.
Back to the king of all commitment phobes, Henry Rollins.
I thought you were my friend.
I I am your friend. That's why I'm always on you about acting like a demented fool.
I am trying to evolve.
Okay, Lothar, you have scabs on your knuckles from dragging on the ground.
Oh, thank you.
You have not evolved when it comes to women. One iota.
Yes, I have a little.
7 years of demented psycho women with Karen Carpenter body, big, huge hooters, huge ones, and you think it's hot. It's not hot. If they're pretentious, you'll date them. If they just escaped from the loony bin, you'd marry them. And if they're really sweet and well-adjusted, you break up with them through email. Because you're so sweet. What an ass.
Note to self, need testicles. Heidi has just visited me.
It's my job.
Thanks for hanging out with me, Heidi.
You're welcome.
We are about out of time, but before I go, I want to recommend 2 DVDs that I think are absolutely mandatory viewing. The first of which is a Rainier Fassbinder film called Why Does Hair R Run Amok? It's a tragic, tough film, but that's the way Rainier Fassbinder made them. The second is called Outfoxed. It's a documentary that is hypercritical of the Fox News network. I say it's about time. You can see a lot of mediocre films. You can also see a lot of really good ones. I think these are 2 that are absolutely must-see films. Please check them out. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you next time.